Welcome to Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island. I'm cutting over through the middle of the island on Sadler Road. If you come down the bridge and just kind of curve around and continue straight, you'll see Sadler, turn right, and that's where we are. It takes about a mile and a half or two to get over here to the beach from the bridge. And once you're here, you can park right here in this dirt parking lot if you don't have 4x4, or over to the right, there's a paved lot. Now here's an all-wheel drive Ford Escape coming off the beach, and I definitely recommend to stick to 4x4 and not all-wheel drive if you're going to explore all the beaches on Amelia Island. This one you might be okay at certain conditions when the sand's not too soft and deep with an all-wheel drive, but you're definitely going to want 4x4 for some of the others where there's really deep sand. Now if you do get stuck, try to dig yourself out, lower the air pressure in your tires, and ask a local for help or call a tow truck company. But you should be okay, and if you have a 4x4, great. Get a Jeep, have some fun, come down to the island, check out the beach accesses. Certain signs will tell you you need a permit if you're not a county resident, so keep that in mind. But this beach here, Sadler, is great. There's a bathroom and showers, and usually maybe 20-30 cars here on the actual beach during the weekend. During the week, hardly any at all. Never too crowded. They do have lifeguards here, which is great during summer or certain periods. And there is kind of a presence and monitoring by the lifeguards here more than at other beaches. So keep that in mind, and that also helps you to stay safe. So don't worry about it, everybody's friendly. Now I'm going to be exiting the beach and going to check out the more northern beaches. I wanted to kind of show you the whole island today. This is one of my longer videos. I don't usually record for this long or show this much, but there may be some people out there who are just getting to know Fernandina Beach and kind of wondering what the island is like, what it's like to drive, and get some more details. So there are some hotels right here by Sadler, but it is kind of the main cluster and point at which we do have some bigger chains. You won't find a lot of other hotels on the island. You'll find a lot of beach rentals. You'll find a lot of bed and breakfast in smaller places, and then a lot of privately owned condos and kind of Airbnb places that you can rent. You might notice on Fletcher North here, there's quite a bit of construction trucks, and there is a lot of building going on, a lot of rehab and renovations, and some people don't prefer to live on this road because there is so much traffic, but personally I think it's just a standard amount. A lot of really nice houses and more of the expensive homes that are on the island. Up here there are going to be a lot of rentals, so if you're looking for real estate, you want to keep in mind who your neighbors are and will be, and if they will have renters in and out. There's certain restrictions on zoning for, say, weekly rentals or minimum 1 month rentals, so if you're buying something, make sure to look into that. Going along, there's such a mix of properties on Amelia Island, from everything from mobile homes, which are totally okay and allowed in certain zoning, all the way up to multi-unit and hotels. So you'll see everything, and sometimes right next to each other, a mobile home next to a brand new house. A lot of the houses along here on the strip are either being renovated or built up, remodeled, not only to make them nicer, to rent them out, but also to make them more resistant to the weather, the hurricanes and stuff. So keep that in mind too. Now, not all of the coastal areas are zoned for flooding. There's some are the zone X that are right on the beach, believe it or not. They're high enough. But definitely check your flood zone as well if you're thinking about buying property here. That definitely has an impact on how much you're going to spend per month. I love these octagon houses. There's a few of them as we go along. There's one to the right there. One other cool thing about Amelia Island is that there are so many beach accesses. I think it's so important that our beaches are maintained for the public. It's a national resource, and that private people shouldn't be able to own the beach right in front of their house. I'm sorry, it's just my opinion. I think everybody should have a right, no matter where they're from, if they're able to afford to live right by the beach or not, to come and enjoy the space. Now, in Amelia Island, you'll see these little blue signs with little walkways going through in between houses. Sometimes it does look like private property, but if it's got the little blue sign and a little path, you're totally free to walk on and go to the beach. Now, that's not saying that you're allowed to park right next to the blue sign. You have to make sure that you check the parking rules and street signs. And for instance, on this street, if you were to park there right to the right by that lane, you'll be right in the middle of the bike lane. We're coming up on Main Beach, and this is on Atlantic, the street. So we've got a couple hotels, gas station, restaurant, and the Salt Life restaurant, which in the evening times the parking can be basically taken over by that restaurant. Not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying if you want to come enjoy the beach, be prepared for this parking lot to be full. Maybe want to check out another one. A lot of cool amenities here for the kids. There's a playground with bathrooms right next to it, and showers to rinse off from the beach, and of course the parking, and then a big grassy area to play. There's basketball court and a skate park right here that's free to use. That's one of the things I love about Amelia Island, is that I never pay for parking. I never pay to use the local amenities, which is such a great offering that they've enabled visitors and locals alike to use. Now I'm going to be snaking my way over here on the Tarpon Avenue, which is the access, the one and only access over to the very north end of the beach. And that gets us over to Ocean, which is a dirt street, which is another favorite of mine. Love to have the combination of paved roads and dirt roads, just fun to drive on, and just to kind of remind us of what it was like before all the urbanization. There's another kind of extra parking lot over here, which I don't think a lot of people use. It's a little further from the playground and such, but available for you. Now, coming up here on Ocean, it looks like this is a beach access to drive on, but I don't think it is. I think it's an access for public workers, lifeguards, and the people that are contracted to collect the trash. Coming down this road, at first I thought, wow, this is kind of a rustic place to live. Looks like there's a lot of rentals and things along here, but it's actually quite a nice, calm, quiet neighborhood. There's another one of those octagon houses, and so casual. You can just pull your car up here on the right at any of these accesses and go across the dune. And I would warn you and advise you that see where there's some netting there. You're not supposed to go over the dune unless there's actually a designated sign or path like this wooden walkway coming up here, and that's just to protect the dune and keep it from getting worn down. And it is a place where there's some turtles, tortoises, and different habitat for animals that we don't want to destroy. So this woman's going up and over, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Now I have seen people going right around and to the side of it just because they want to bring their little beach wagon because they can't take it upstairs, and that's something people choose to do, but I think the city really wants us to use those pathways. Such an interesting neighborhood. There's some finds in here. There's a lot of development and construction going on in this neighborhood, so there will be some noise over the next few years, but some of the cheaper options as far as if you need a duplex that you like to live in one half and rent the other half, or you're just looking to rent, great neighborhood to look for that. I'm going to be traveling back down south now and going to some of the other beach accesses. I just wanted to show you that dirt road. Even though it's not a beach access, it's still kind of a nice drive and rustic feeling going along. You can go even further north, quite a bit, a couple miles at least, and explore some of the neighborhoods that I didn't show today, but there's no more beach accesses. If you go, say we're going here now east, if you were to turn right and go up north again, You're going alongside Fort Clinch. Straight ahead of me is Fort Clinch, the state park, and that is a amazing resource and a great place to go visit. If you have kids, bring them along. So much history, so many opportunities to enjoy in there, like camping, mountain biking, walking, and just awesome beaches over there north of the fort. So I'm coming back out Tarpon, and I'm going to be turning left onto Atlantic. If I were to go right, I'd be going over to downtown. The reason I'm cutting over this way, kind of zigzagging, was because I wanted to show Main Beach before I head back down south. So coming through here, that white building on the right is Salt Life Restaurant. Very cool upstairs patio, place to eat, and downstairs overall just a great experience of a restaurant to try. Over here on the left is like the playground and the bathrooms and more parking. And going this way to the right, we're going to pass a little mini golf that's on the left there. There are at least 3 mini golf places on the island now. One's brand new and just about to open. It's in downtown, and then this one here, and then there's Island Falls, I believe it's called. It's over on Sadler Road. So turning into this beach access, it's more free parking. And you can't drive here either, but I wanted to pull in. I'm kind of checking the surf as I go along. And so see this little sand dune that's built up here? They built that up during the last storm to prevent some of the storm surge from coming over. And people have now kind of walked all through it, and the sand is kind of fallen down. I'm skipping here ahead back onto Fletcher and going south now. So we're going to kind of, you know what, I actually skipped ahead on my video just to save you some time, and now we're south of Sadler, and we're getting into the community that's further south on the island. We're in the midpoint right now, and I'll let you know when we get more to the south end, and you'll see a drastic change in the type of houses and the communities that are down here. This is more rentals, privately owned, and available on like VRBO, Airbnb, right here along the beach, and then some of the really nice houses that have been constructed in the last 10, 20 years over here on the left on the beach side. To the right here are some condos that you can rent out. Some people, in fact, of course, people own them. There's a surf restaurant here and hotel. More condos on the left you can rent out if you come on down. There's gas stations all over the island, so you never really have to worry about being too far from grabbing something to eat, getting a drink, or filling up on gas. Now there are still opportunities on the island, like you see on the right here, places for sale that are vacant land. But you definitely need to talk with the city about your plans before you get into one of those. I looked into one, and the further and the deeper I got into it, the more I discovered the city preferred that a developer buy the land and the adjoining lots and build 3 or 4 houses. I just wanted to build one for myself, so I avoided that and just got a pre-built used home. But lots of different types of opportunities on the island. Now I'm heading down next to Peepers Point, as I call it, for no good reason at all, besides it's just funny, me and my kids. But they have a big parking lot. It's a county park, and then you can drive right onto the beach, and it's one of the longer beach accesses that you can drive on. Probably a good mile of driving, I would say. A lot of people do like to ride their bikes along this road, road bikers and beach cruisers alike. I would say just be careful of the cars and people on cell phones if you are, and keep your eye on your little mirror if you have one on your bike handlebars. make sure people aren't drifting over. That happened to me one time. I was on my scooter, a little Vespa type scooter in the bike lane. It's only allowed to go in the bike lane, and as I looked in my mirror, I saw a garbage truck veering into my lane, my little bike lane, and noticed as I swerved over and as he passed, I noticed he was on his cell phone, the driver. So imagine that. Huge vehicle like that would have just totally squashed me. Guy on his cell phone. So turning left over here into Peters Point, it looks like you're entering kind of a private hotel or condo complex over here, but you're not. You're just getting in here to the county access. Some really nice condos there on the right. And so they have some actually really nice bathrooms here. There's some people on horses that are just about to enter the beach. You can park right there, unload your horses, and come out and drive on. I would definitely recommend 4x4 for this beach, as there is quite a bit of deep sand. Coming down into the beach access here, you can see where they had kind of a massive sand dune that they built to protect from storm surge, and now they've dug it out. Be careful there to the right. You might think it's a place to go and have fun and drive, but it's actually for the lifeguards and police to drive on, not for us. And you need to watch out for these little signs that say no driving beyond this point. Those will mark the limits of where you can go. It's a beautiful beach, really pristine, not crowded at all here at Peters Point. Definitely recommend it. A little bit of a walk back to the bathrooms, so keep that in mind if you have your kids with you. Now at this beach I helped a guy in his Mustang who was stuck in the deep sand, and it was a little tricky because he was right near the dune and you're not allowed to drive on the dune, so we had to pull him out kind of sideways. There was a little tractor there, a little skid steer doing something, and a guy with some tents right nearby. So I've read that there actually is camping allowed on the island, on the beaches. I didn't see if you needed to get a permit before or any rules about it really, but county residents are allowed to camp for free, which is very cool. So I was just making my way on the hard pack there a little bit to avoid some of the more soft sand. But you'll see as I get into this, you really have to keep the revs up, keep your tires spinning. Now you're supposed to only go 10 miles per hour. That's the rule here on all the beaches, 10 mile per hour speed limit. So try to stick to that as much as you can. This isn't like a Pismo Beach or Daytona Beach or a place where you're really going to drive on the beach to show off your truck and spin your tires and just have a ton of that type of fun. It's more just enjoying the pristine beaches here and getting access to it and bringing your gear. I know a lot of guys like to drive their truck out onto the beach because they can bring their fishing poles, and I like to drive my truck out here so I can bring my family and all our toys and boogie boards and everything and not have to lug anything and load it and unload it from the car at the parking lot. I'm just stopping here to cruise and check the waves for a bit. Brought out my paddleboard and my surfboard, but it doesn't look like there's anything really to surf, although waves are breaking really close to the shore. That being said, it's always fun to bodyboard out with the kids and push them into waves out here, or just bring out a foam board and learn to surf if you don't know how. So I'm getting back on the pavement here. You can see those big condos to the left, parking and the amenities for this beach on the right. And I believe they do the staging and the delivery of all the cars for the car show, dropping off people with trailers here at this lot during the big car show they have here. So be mindful of that. If you're coming over and you see it's all packed, just head on over to another beach, which you can easily do by just turning left. This video may seem like it's getting a bit long here and you're wondering, man, I'm just listening to this guy ramble on. Well, sorry. I wanted to show the people that really wanted to get an idea of what it's like to drive around on the island. So I'm just letting it flow and not skipping much. I would say leave yourself a couple hours if you want to do the whole drive and do some stops along the way and eat and grab a drink or whatever. But the whole island is not very long. If you really want to get from one end to the other, you can do it in 30 minutes or so. Love these drives with all the oaks and trees and vines leaning over the road, shading you as you drive through. I'm headed over now to Scott Road, which is another beach access, and you can see the landscape and the type of housing has greatly changed now that we reached this point. Mostly trees all lining the road, and if you peek through on the left and right, you can see developments, HOA neighborhoods, golf courses, and gated communities. If you get far enough along down here past American Beach, which we'll go to after Scott Road, you'll get into the Omni plantation, and you can drive right alongside the plantation without entering and going in, and go all the way to the southern tip of the island and off across the bridges. Now, on the Omni plantation there are some public access points where you can go and enjoy natural sliced pizza and marche beret, I think is how you pronounce it, some different restaurants and shopping. But a lot of it you need a pass to get through to go into the condos. But if you're doing like a VRBO or renting one of the condos for the week, the people at the gate are really friendly and help you get through. So here we are onto Scott Road. Plenty of parking. Watch out for the speed bump as you enter the beach here. And more signs that you need a permit if you're not a county resident. Not sure where to get the permit. I believe it's like $5 a day or something. But I'm not sure how you'd even get one, and I'm not sure if anyone actually checks. It's not my responsibility. Somebody is doing that though, I assume, once in a while. So here we'll see a little golf cart, LSV onto the beach, low speed vehicle as it's maybe classified, not sure for this one. But Scott Road, the difference here is that you can only park within this first, say, 50 yards left and right. You can't, it's just basically you pull on, park, turn around and leave, and you're just here to access and get onto the beach. You're not here really to do a little cruise along. I've heard that there's good surfing here, but I haven't seen it yet myself, so still waiting for a day when the waves are breaking a little further out and have good form. At least 2 or 3 feet. At Peters Point I was told it's good for longboarding. Now I didn't see any longboarding waves there when I was cruising along today, but that's not to say that every other day there aren't good waves there, or certain times or tides. Right now it's still around high tide, so you'll notice the beaches are a little thinner. When we get to low tide, you'll have a little more room to drive around and run around on the beach. So Scott Road, just a small beach access, but still you're allowed to drive your truck out onto the sand, which is just a great feature. And really treasuring that before they shut any of these beach accesses down, which some of the community is trying to do. We'll see how it all plays out over the next few years, but I hope they keep at least some of them open. Now, this is my first little pop-up, text me with questions. I'm not a local, I haven't been here for long. Now, I guess I'm beginning to be a local. I mean, I've only been living here a few months, and we've been visiting for a few years, but there are certainly many people that know much more about the island than I do, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to help and answer any questions I can. Now, some people might say, oh my gosh, you're giving your phone number on the internet. What are you doing? Identity theft. It's just a phone number. Feel free, anybody, whoever you are, give me a text if you want, and would love to help you out, find something on the island, help you out with your small business. My wife and I run a marketing company, and we help a lot of small businesses on with their digital media and Facebook advertising. My wife's also an author and a speaker, and so we make our way around the country having fun and sharing the good news. So here we are going along further and further, and the next stop, I believe, is American Beach. Now, American Beach is interesting historical place on Amelia Island. It's very similar to Atlantic Beach and Myrtle Beach, where it was formed. Let's say I'll let you do your own research on the subject, but it is a very awesome, diverse community, and it's not only diverse in population, but diverse in terms of what kind of structures you'll find there. Driving through for your first time, you might think it's a little dumpy, or some of the houses are in very strict need of repair, but it's going to be like that until people come in and really refurbish the place. And there is some work being done to refurbish it already. You can see that in the construction that's going on, and there are quite a few empty lots still available. So there seems to be good opportunities there. Some people say it'll still continue to look the same for another 50 years. Others think that there's going to be a lot of development going on. One advantage of places like American Beach is that it's in the county instead of the city, and so you don't get all the resources that you might get and access to utilities that you get in the city, but you do save a little bit on taxes and have all the county rules instead of the additions of the city rules. Some people prefer that. Okay, now I'm rambling again. Just trying to burn the time while we get through. One more thing I wanted to comment on was this video is all about kind of the beach communities and the beach drive, and then you have the whole other portion of the island, the downtown, and all the communities in between in the main volume of the island area. And so much to get to know on the island, so many different little neighborhoods. Each one may match more closely to what you're looking for. For us, we definitely wanted to be right at the beach, but it was a little more expensive with the maintenance on the houses because of the weather, and then the additional taxes of being in the city and finding the right spot. So we ended up in a small neighborhood, and we love it. Lots of great neighbors and very close to the school and everything we need. So we're happy where we landed, about a mile from the beach. And we can easily just cruise down, hop in the truck, cruise down, and drive right onto the sand and jump out. If we were, say, 3-4 blocks from the beach, walking in the really hot sun with the really young kids, it's not really a possibility anyway, so we would have been driving. Now I'm following along behind this little F-150, who's passionately going the speed limit here and making my way down past the Bernie Beach access, which is a nice little park with a pavilion, place you can have birthday parties or events, and there's plenty of parking. It's right there on the right. There's a guy coming out and checking his paddleboard after he went out for a swim, it looks like, and checking to make sure he tied it down correctly. I'm going past that access because I want to go down to where you can drive on to American Beach and just have a ball driving along a really long beach access. So I cut in kind of on one of the more southern streets of American Beach, and you can see right here there's been a lot of development and some newer houses being built. On the left there's some empty lots, but as we exit, we'll see some of the more rustic houses and older houses, and some of the ones that need to be either torn down and rebuilt, or definitely refurbished with structural work, and sometimes completely new roofing. Which there was one place, it's basically just the concrete blocks and that's it. So American Beach, although it seems like it's kind of out in the middle of the nowhere, you can actually get right over to over to Harris Teeter to do all your grocery shopping, get gas right there at BP. It's still convenient, but it gives you that feel of being more just a rustic, outdoorsy feel, quiet neighborhood. No cars really driving through to get any other places because to get anywhere they'd have to go back out to the main road. I'm cutting here to some footage from another day because I skipped this drive on the main day of filming. But this is a little bit busier day here. You can see everybody's set up, having fun. This truck here on the left that's coming at me has these gigantic wide tires. He was going so slow on the beach. I thought at first he was getting stuck, but with those tires I'm sure he's not. It's a little bit of a high tide, so there's not a whole lot of room to drive here, and you can see the water's coming right up to the soft sand. So you want to be careful when you park that you don't park kind of where the tide's going to hit your tires while you're out there swimming. Keep an eye on your truck. And it's quite a busy day. A lot of fun rigs out here, all different brands of truck, Jeeps, even a Hummer. And everybody just pulled up with their beds to the ocean, backs open, chilling in chairs or just sitting inside the truck. The other great thing about being able to drive on the beach is if you have any people that can't walk on the soft sand, or perhaps you have someone in your family in a wheelchair, you can just drive right up to the beach and keep the air conditioning on and chill for a little bit if needed, or roll down the windows, turn the car off, and just enjoy the ocean sounds and the view right there without having to walk or get one of those adapted wheelchairs or any special equipment to get on the sand, which someone here on the right we're just passing does have one, which is really cool. So you can see American Beach gives you a long stretch of beach that you can cruise on. Really fun just to go all the way down and back and see everybody. I'm going to make my turn here. You can see that white sign over there, which was the end. The water's looking really fun today. Nice and clear in the shallows. And now we're headed back. Definitely some soft sand here. And if a lot of people, you know, if they have a Subaru or a CRV or a RAV4, think they might be able to, you know, cruise on the beach, and that's fine if you want to risk it, but I just would strongly advise you to test it out or just avoid it altogether before you get too deep. Now I'm going out Lewis Street, and you can see here on the right there's two houses in particular that I was very interested in buying when I first got here. The second one there is actually an old hotel. They had like 8 rooms and a restaurant on it. Very historical place, and I really hope someone buys it and fixes it up and makes it back into its former glory. And I don't think they'll be able to make it into a hotel. The rooms that were in there must have been so tiny. It's like a 2,000 square foot space altogether. But looking inside, I mean, the whole floor was dropped out and everything was rotten, and some of the concrete blocks were totally fallen in, so that needs quite a bit of work. But you can see getting towards the exit here, there's some really nice little homes, and so it's just a great big mix in American Beach. Great little spot. There's a brand new house there on the left. You can't really see it from this video, but it had a gigantic RV garage, fully enclosed garage. It was like 2 stories tall. A huge door. There's a gas station there, and we're pulling out, and now we'll be going right alongside the Omni, or right through the Omni plantation property. I'm not going to drive us through because I don't have my tag on this car. I have it on my other, but to get in and go on all the streets in there. But I'll drive right through the middle on the public road here. I skipped a little section because that's a couple miles of driving, and now we're getting to Amelia Island State Park. Amelia Island State Park is now one of my favorite spots on Amelia Island because it is such a great beach access with such a long extended piece of property that you can drive on. Now, there to the left, you see there's a place where you can go on horse rides right on the beach, and you have some signage here and a little pay station. Now, I haven't been when they actually had someone in that booth monitoring, but I paid my $2 today. I skipped that part, and it's just $2 for access or parking. Not bad at all. I think earlier in the video I mentioned you don't have to pay anywhere, but this is one spot you do. Sorry about that. So definitely worth it. Long stretch of trails and beach that you can drive on. Definitely some deep sand here, so, and loose sand, so be careful. You'll see as we enter there's a Subaru that's kind of apprehensive as we're pulling in, and he's kind of deciding how far he should go, but even just a little entrance here, some deep ruts to get through. Here he is kind of on the left, kind of figuring out the sand, driving backing up and going forwards. And you got some guys on the right with their Tundra, just like me, further there in the distance, and then the F-150, hard to tell now from the video. But you can see as the Subaru kind of gets into this, lower ground clearance and some of the sand just being really loose and deep. And then even as you go into more of the hard pack, you'll see your tires really start to kick up the muddy sand. And so it's not a guarantee there either that you'll be able to make it through. But I'm not a big beach driving experienced person. I'm just telling you from my own experience of my truck with the tires I have on it. They are all-terrain off-road tires. They're not the Firestone all-terrains. They're a different brand, but they're still have a really good grip for off-roading, and they're still spinning sometimes, and I really have to put in 4x4 or my back end just starts bumping up and down and starting to bog down and dig in. So 4x4 a must, especially for this beach access. This water is just so awesome here on the right, so calm. It's right on the bay here, or the inlet to the intercoastal. You can just fish to your heart's content. I'm sure there's all types of fish in there, and even coming up here there's going to be a sign that kind of gives all the different types that might be here. Now going along, there seems to be kind of a path where everyone's driving in more of the hard pack, and then also over in the soft sand. And so I'm kind of going to swerve back and forth here to go around different people that have set up. There's the sign there on the left with the different type of fish and some information. And there to the left, there's a little trail. And what that does is it cuts through this peninsula and allows you to get onto a whole nother spot of the beach that you wouldn't be able to otherwise going this way. But the cool thing about this beach is that you'll transition from, when you go around the point, from this calm bay water all the way over to the ocean with waves. Sorry about the lens flare here. It's super bright and sunny. It's kind of beautiful though. The little bird there, well, he wasn't little, that's for sure. He's like 3 feet tall. He was kind of walking towards the sand, and then as soon as my truck started coming, started backing up. It was really funny. Really big, long legs. So I'm riding around the point right now. Just a great, huge area to explore. Bring the kids. I'm sure my kids are going to love it. I'm going to bring them out now that I've discovered this. And I think my son, his grandfather, had actually rode their bikes on the beach here, right on the nice hard-packed sand, and had just an amazing time. So getting up here to this point where all the rocks are kind of stacked, there's signs that say don't go any further. So instead of going that way, I'm going to actually turn here to the left and go on one of the trails that leads over to the other section of the beach. I would love, love, love for this to be an ATV access where you could bring the kids and have them ride their little dirt bikes or go-karts or mini ATVs, but the county's pretty sure they'll never allow that. At least they let us bring the trucks out, which is really fun. So it almost looks like we're driving through the middle of the grasslands here, but we're right here on a peninsula, right at the ocean. And with there being free camping access, I'm going to check into it and ask around a little bit, but this could be a really fun place to camp. Drive all the way out here with your supplies, bring the kids, set up camp, have a generator going for any electricity that we need, and just enjoy some of the more mild temperatures during other parts of the year other than summer. So I'm really fortunate that they built this road through the point here. It's a little rutted. It's got those washboard ruts in it. So I assume because people were driving faster than 10 miles per hour and it kind of formed those. I'm not sure how exactly they get formed, but I've seen them a lot in the California deserts. They really make kind of a ruckus noise and vibration. So you want to travel at kind of an optimum speed to avoid it being super crazy and rattling your teeth off. Then into some really deep sand here. Getting back out onto the beach. So there's more signs there and a kind of really cool little habitat there with little flingers of grass poking up through the sand. And then back out onto the hard pack here where people are enjoying the fishing and little waves rolling up. Now be careful here as I pull up along this part where the water had come across to the left. You see there's some really deep ruts where they made kind of a little river when the tide had come up. You certainly wouldn't want to hit one of those without knowing and going too fast. You know, you'd want to be at crawl speed for those things. There's an interesting little break over here, this pile of rocks that they made. Not sure exactly the thought behind it, but I'm sure it makes for a good little fishing habitat, as there's a couple guys that are enjoying fishing right there. And you see we've just been driving for a while now. It's just a great place to explore. If I were to keep driving, and you'll see some condos starting to appear, this is just the point where you have to stop and turn around. You would see the Omni plantation private property, but it's totally accessible if you rent property for the week to go on vacation, and you would be on the beach that's just north of this. So now I'm turning around south and going to exit on out of here, but I'm going to go a different way, more along the little cut through and back towards the beginning of the beach. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry for rambling. Hopefully you turned down the volume if you didn't care to hear what I had to say, but a lot of great beaches on Amelia Island that I've discovered now, being fairly new here. Definitely give me a call or a text just randomly. Just say your name, where you're from, and what question you have, or if you need a recommendation, or if you need a 4x4 to go explore the beach, give me a call. Maybe we can give you a ride out there or let you borrow mine. Lots of fun things to do on the island. I'm always looking for more business opportunities, businesses to start or to join up or help people with. So definitely give me a call or text if you need anything within the marketing field. Thinking about how to start a new business or how to get your business off the ground or set up an online structure so people can pay online and sign up and register and make appointments. If you'd like help getting to know how to start up with Facebook or Google advertising, definitely give me a call. We can discuss and I can help you out. This is so great to be able to have this resource to just come and drive. And I would love to go out more inland and discover some more areas to do some off-roading, but I'm really not a serious off-roader. I'm not looking for huge mud puddles to bog through and get myself stuck and unstuck. I'm just looking for something mild to go out with the kids and drive around and um, bounce around back and forth a little bit and help them have some fun and some adventure in their life, some family memories that we can have. So I am looking for more of the ATV trails and something maybe if we ever get a side-by-side we could go on something for the kids to drive, like some little ATVs or fully enclosed go-karts. But so far haven't found anything right nearby Amelia Island, so we'll continue to look. But there are some parks that are just within an hour or two drive that I'm looking forward to exploring. Always looking for buddies to go off-roading with, so give me a text if you're interested as well. Like I said, I'm not super serious, but even if you are, we could still tag along, and you could help us get unstuck. So that's the bridge that goes off south of the island and wraps around and curls over towards Jacksonville. So going that way can take you almost an hour to get to the airport, or you can take the bridge on the northwest corner of the island and go over down 95 to get to the airport. Give me a call if you need a ride from the airport or any help with your travels. I can connect you with some different businesses on the island and vacation rental spots if you're looking for a great place to rent. It's a small community, so you really get to know a lot of the people very quickly and see people all around the island. And then the local businesses are really great, working together and just supporting each other. So it's a great community to be a part of.